Greetings all. Today, I'm going to be working on some human auxiliaries for my Tau army, or Gue'vesa? Probably said that one wrong, as they are known in the lore. With that in mind, I needed a base human to work with, and I've chosen the Van Saar gang from Necromunda. Their armour looks fairly futuristic and a bit fancy, so I feel that this suits the idea of the Tau rather well. So to start with, I remove and clean up the basic body, legs, arms and the neck of a Van Saar gang member. Starting with the neck, the head that will be used is the Breacher helm from the Fire Warriors kit, though this technique would work with either types of helm, and to make the helm and neck join together, I will need to flatten out both the join areas. This can be done with clippers for the bulk of it, before going in with the knife to smooth the areas out and make them fit better. With that done, the parts can be set aside for later, as some more things need to be prepared before any gluing can happen. The next of these things is the backpack, again from the Fire Warriors kit. Choose the backpack that suits the weapons you're using, and either way you'll notice that they have a little raised area and a little nub where they connect to the Fire Warrior torso on them. Also, the Van Saar body has a raised area at the back that would need to be flattened out a little to fit. So, taking my clippers, I cut the bulk of the bump off the torso before coming in with a knife to flatten the area out. I wanted to not take off a lot here, just flatten out the area enough for the pack to fit, as a slight raise would help sell the backpack being meant to go there. With the torso sorted, I could move on to the backpack itself, and for some test models I took off only the nub, some I took off the whole raised area. You can do either here, but I felt that removing the entire raised area looked better, so taking my clippers, I cut the bulk of this bit off before moving on to the knife and flattening out that join area ready for the glue later on. With the neck and the backpack done, that's the bulk of the preparation for the body, so now I can glue the various parts together, leaving the head off for now, as I wanted to position it based on the arms. And speaking of which, they are in fact the next step. For this, I'm using an arm holding a las gun at ease. It comes in two parts, which makes life a little easier for my purposes. The gun I'm going to be using is one of the Breacher guns from the Fire Warrior kit. This will need to be cut down, and I'm going to do this just behind the dip bit on the top of the gun to the line on it just above the hand, and then just in front of the trigger area up to the same line, and then along the line. I marked out this area with my knife before I cut for a visual aid. The idea is to cut along the existing lines and plates in the weapon so that any join looks like it is meant to be there. Once this has been cut off and the join area cleaned up, I moved on to the stock of the weapon and the arm. Using the weapon as a guide, I found I'd need to cut a little off just above the trigger area so that the Tau weapon would slot nicely into it. Once this has been done and you're satisfied with the join, they can be glued together. I actually found that leaving the mould lines on the weapon and arm until after this part helps for the gluing stage, as you can use them as a guide for how straight and centred the join is, but don't forget to clean them off before painting. Putting the right arm aside until the glue is set, I moved on to the left. I'm going to be using this open hand from the Van Saar kit, but I wanted to have him holding a grenade for coolness reasons. To do this, I'm going to use a grenade hand from the Delac kit, as I have several bits of that laying around. To do this, I would first have to cut flat the Delac hand, as it has part of a cuff attached. After this, I could carefully remove the hand from the arm with my knife and save it in the bits box before gluing the grenade hand in place. With this done, the right arm in two pieces could then be glued together and let to set. But before attaching the arms, I wanted to add some adornments to help change the model a little bit more. For this, I have some pouches from the Fire Warrior kit. I'm putting the pouch with the Tau emblem on it on his left hip area, and the pouch with the little ammo clip thing on the right leg. With those pouches done, the arms can then be added to the model. In my case, I have the gun held at ease, although not too much at ease because I don't want it poking in the ground, and the grenade arm is as if he is just readying it, having it been removed from a pouch or a belt clip. At this stage, the head can now be added at an appropriate angle. Before gluing it on, I would suggest testing the angle and adjusting as necessary by taking small amounts of plastic off either the bottom of the helmet area or the neck area with a knife. Once you are satisfied with this, you can glue it in place and add the aerial. And with all of those done, the last thing that needs to be done is to add the shoulder plate from the Fire Warriors kit. Now, depending on the body in question from the Van Saar kit, you can just glue the shoulder in place. However, if you want the join to be a little better, you can take a small amount of modelling putty, I use green stuff, and place it under the shoulder plate, which can then be pushed into place on the arm. Once you've done that, you can take your moulding and sculpting tools and just gently remove some of the excess putty from underneath the arm so it doesn't have any bulges. This technique is especially good for the bodies who are extending their left arms aiming weapons, as there's not much to glue the shoulder pads onto. Now, after adding some basic materials and a super quick paint job, this guy is ready to join the squad of test models on the tabletop. In the current Tau Codex, there doesn't seem to be any option for their human auxiliaries. I think there was a thing several editions ago that could be used to field some lasgun-armed Imperial Guard to the army. However, doing it this way, they can just be fielded as a normal breacher team. The technique of swapping the guns works pretty much the same for all of the Fire Warrior guns, so that's also a possibility. I wanted to have a few humans that I could add to my Tau army to represent people who live in the Tau-controlled world, and thought a mixed squad of these guys and some Tau would look good on the tabletop. And I feel that these guys and girls fit the bill quite well. Aside from the weapons, they are disgustingly easy to build, and even the weapons aren't that hard to do. So if you enjoyed this Kitbash, why not subscribe, share, or drop a like, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe, and have a good one all.